Let's just start off with the question that is the reality on everyone's mind. How do you feel about Russell Wilson's future in Seattle after yesterday's press conference? You feeling better? You feeling the same? You feeling worse? I threw that question out on Twitter, Akalon says, and the response is 59.9%, at least as of right now, feel the same. 31.8% feel better. 8.3% feel worse. You know what? At the very least, we can all feel a little bit better because for the most part, we're all feeling okay about what took place yesterday. What's my takeaway from the press conference, you might ask? The person who has been probably more annoyed than anyone at 710 ESPN Seattle by this entire saga this offseason? Well, I got to say, I'm impressed. I am impressed by the delicate and artful way that Russell Wilson was able to dodge question after question, the way that until maybe that game against the New York Giants, he was able to dodge pass rushers. My hat is off to him. Football talk art, and the reality is it belongs in a museum. I feel about the same about Russell Wilson's future in Seattle after this, because here's the deal with Russ. He's unbelievable to watch on a football field, but he is someone that whenever he is asked what's going on in his mind, he is always going to have a mask in front of it. You're never going to get authentic Russ. That's who he is. I don't blame him for it. He is a very forward-facing individual. He is a quarterback. But at the same time, you could tell that there was something that bothered him over the course of this offseason. And he was trying to make clear that this did not take place, even though the implication was right there. And we lathered in it and just sat in it and waited for 3.5 months. But he wanted people to believe he never requested a trade. Doesn't really work that way, though, right? When your agent puts out a tweet, essentially, that says, these are the 4 teams that I would be traded to. That's bizarre behavior, no matter how you want to slice it. That's a very strange move to do. And you just let it hover in the air? Russell Wilson could have come out and clarified that. He says he was in the Bahamas. Okay, you're on vacation. Probably something that you would want to take care of because you can while you're in the Bahamas. Not that hard. We all have cell phones. We all have Periscope or Instagram Live, whatever you want to do. He could have spoken out and tried, at the very least, to put it to rest. He didn't. He explained yesterday at his press conference why he didn't say anything all offseason. Here's Russ.
Sometimes things are family matters. Not everybody else is a part of it at the time. Because the reality is that there was calls going around that I could have possibly been traded, and so I think the reality is that we had to have a lot of conversations. We had some great ones along the way, and it made our relationship stronger. Really, me and Pete and John and all that.
So he dodges around it there. The entirety of the press conference, he felt that was blown out of proportion, and he's absolving himself of fault. And then text in on the most interactive sports talk show in Seattle. The real reality of the reality is really, really. But one texter asks about Russell Wilson's agent. Did Russ ever mention whether or not his agent requested for a trade? No, he did not. And here's the thing. There were some really, I think, well-worded questions that were sent Russ's way. And he stepped around all of them. And he's always going to be able to do that. The guy's got a career in politics after that. I think that is for sure. And some people are going to believe everything that he said. Hook, line, and sinker. I don't blame you. I would want to believe everything that he said. Hook, line, and sinker. I would want to have faith that this guy is going to be here for the remainder of his career. And maybe he will be. This is the one thing that really stuck with me in the press conference, because Russ was flexing this offseason that the Seahawks need to do some more, and I get it. I mean, he's frustrated about getting hit as many times as he is and frustrated about losing. But this moment in the press conference where he said, well, things can change, I want to be here forever, I thought it was very interesting.
Well, I think any time in sports, obviously things can change. I think that's just the reality. Everybody knows that, But I think that for me, my heart of hearts, and I love the city. I love this place. I love everything about it. From the moment I touched down to Seattle Children's to, our Why Not You Academy to everything else that we have going on. This place has meant a lot. And ultimately, I love the fans. I love my teammates. I love this coaching staff. I love this building. So every time I come up here, I get excited. Just to get ready to go again.
He loves everything about it here. Things can change, but I want to play the rest of my career here. So, what does that mean? I think it should mean if you say that you want to play the rest of your career here, then this little kerfuffle that we had back in February is the last time that we are going to have headaches like this during the offseason until your contract expires. That is what I think should happen going forward if Russell Wilson is a man of his word in saying that he wants to play here for the remainder of his career. And look, things can change. And a question that I have for you, an honest one. This is not a loaded question. Does Russ care about his word? Should any athlete care about what they say at a press conference? Because things can change. And I know that if we go back in time, there is an idea that when Alex Rodriguez left town, that Alex Rodriguez had said, I want to be in Seattle forever. I don't think there's ever a direct quote that indicated that. Then he signs with Texas for ungodly amounts of money, and it's clear to everybody, okay, he's probably more about money. I don't honestly blame him for the contract, but I can understand why people would have gotten upset. But in this situation, Russ, a guy who cares about his legacy and cares about what other people think about him, we know that for sure, he says that he wants to play the remainder of his career here. If that's the case, if that's truly the case, then I feel that this is the last time that we should hear any uncertainty coming out of his camp, his court, for the remainder of the time that he is on this roster. That's at least how I feel about it. But I'm curious as to how you feel about it, and this is the most interactive sports talk show in Seattle. 710-710 is how you text in on the Mac and Jack's Brewing Company text line. I really think this was just a bunch of off-season media hype. There's no doubt that the fans were flamed, no doubt about it, by national types who made it seem as if Russell Wilson was going to do what we had seen in the NBA. Also, you got to factor this in, and we should wish all the bad things on this team this coming season. The Chicago Bears made this situation way worse. They did. You know how? Because they have tried to, in a desperate attempt to pander to their fan base, made it seem as if they had legitimately put an offer on the table that Seattle was considering. Seattle wasn't really considering any of these offers. And, well, Russ didn't really do, I think, a good job of taking the Seahawks away from being blamed for this even coming up. Because I think there are some who believe that the Seahawks were making phone calls. No, they weren't. They were taking phone calls, picking up the phone, hanging up. Chicago made it sound as if they made this Godfather offer and that Seattle was seriously considering it. Because Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy, they were trying to save their jobs. They made this worse. So anyway, this texter continues. The offseason media hype, no doubt about it. This is how it works in February, March, April in the NFL. This is our dramatic season. He continues saying, I acknowledge his agent is a moron, but Russ isn't going anywhere. I really hope that. And I do believe that he isn't. And I've been saying this for a while too. If he wants to leave, he has to be a lot more forceful than having his agent try to clarify something. Well, he doesn't want to trade, but this is where he would want to be traded to. 710-710, Mac and Jack's Brewing Company text line. Paul, move on. You are part of the problem with mainstream sports media. Stop talking about it so he stays in Seattle. Do you really think what I say, me, Paul Gallant, what I say is going to affect what Russell Wilson does in his future? Really? I mean, honestly, I'm complimented. I mean, that means a lot to me that you feel like I can affect it that much. What we say, what you say, what anyone says, it's all in his mind. It's all in his court. And I'm just hoping that his words that he said yesterday ring true. Because no matter what you want to believe right now, I am tired of talking about this. I am. Yes, for most sports talk show hosts, this is a gold mine of content. For me, I'm tired of it. I am. I didn't want to watch a 30-minute Russell Wilson press conference where he says the word reality 48 times. I don't want to watch that. Do you want to watch that? Who wants to watch that? No one. It was artful. Again, some of the things that he did to dodge those questions. No, I don't want that, no matter what you want to believe.